Welcome to A Shot of Business Central and a Beer, the only podcast where we discuss Microsoft's finest ERP system while nursing the finest brews.
That's right, Michael. Hello, everyone. I'm Ken Sebahar, and the guy already slurring his words is Michael Intravartolo.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Today, we're thrilled to have a special guest who knows more about money than we do about Business Central, and that's saying something.
Is it my bookie?
No, Michael. It's Rob Hallberg, Managing Director at BMO Commercial Bank. Using his 25 plus years of experience in the commercial banking industry, serving small and mid-sized companies, he'll be joining us to talk about what role technology and ERP systems may have in lending decisions made by banks, and also share some insights into how the banking industry views commercial loans for new technology or ERP implementation projects. Hopefully, he can also explain why my bank account looks sadder than a rejected Power app.
Hey Ken, hey Michael, it's great to be here. I'm ready to chat Business Central, talk AI, and maybe even share a few banking secrets.
Well, we're ready to talk with you, but we're also going to be diving into the latest Business Central news. Spoiler alert, it's more exciting than watching our Chicago baseball teams play in June.
And because we can't resist a good buzzword, we'll be discussing the latest Microsoft AI news. Will AI finally be able to decipher Michael's overly positive views on AI? Stay tuned to find out.
Hey, my AI views are perfectly clear. It's not my fault if people can't understand the magic of AI.
Sure, Michael. If you call this AI-generated introduction magic, there is still obviously some work to be done. Either way, grab your favorite beverage, sit back, relax, and strap them down, because a shot of Business Central and a beer is now. Hey, everybody. It's Ken, Michael, and Rob Hallberg joining us. And mentioned during the intro, Rob Hallberg from BMO Bank is joining us. A little bit of a curveball today, right? Outside of our comfort zone, we're trying to expand our horizons here. And I've known Rob for a very long time. We go way back. We just, because Rob services in the banking industry many of the same businesses and types of businesses that we implement and support on Business Central, I thought it would be fun to compare notes. We run into the same companies all the time, small to mid-sized manufacturing, distribution, service type businesses. And, with all of the crossover that we've seen, it's like interesting, like, hey, what's your perspective, when you see someone doing ERP? So that's what we're kind of here to do. Just pick Rob's brain, some inside baseball type information on banking and how it relates to technology these days. So welcome, Rob.
Thank you, Ken. Little did I know, August of 1992 at the University of Iowa, when we first met, that I'd be sitting here as very humbled to be a wonderful guest on your podcast, and it's bringing it all full circle. And the fact that you think I know anything about banking and ERP is even more amazing. Wow. But I'll try.
Well, I actually just knew you'd be willing to bring in some beer for us to drink, so yes. That was kind of the hook there. Like, all right, you bring beer, let's do this. That's funny though. 32 years.
Yeah.
It's been. That's crazy.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So as the baby of the group here, can we jump into the beer?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, so we got Rob brought the beer. What'd you bring us, Robbie?
So this is Schnickelfritz. I brought actually two beers, but Schnickelfritz was one that you just can't say it without laughing.
Right.
I showed up with Miller Lite, and I said, that just doesn't work. That doesn't give this podcast any cred. And so I don't know anything about this beer, but you can't say it without laughing. So we should enjoy.
Completely agree with you.
Let's do that. Let's crack these open and see what this is all about.
We're doing glasses out of the can.
Smells like a Weissbier, wheat beer, right?
Smells good.
Weiss.
Domestic beer.
Weiss.
Sorry, I thought.
No, go for whatever you want.
Weiss,
Yeah.
Weiss, German for white, I believe, white beer. So wheat, usually like wheaty.
Well, it's good.
Wheat beers.
I gotta tell you, I took a big first sip. It's actually very enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I thought it was gonna be a lot heavier.
Yeah, it's not deviating too far from a domestic style beer like the Miller Lite, right? You nailed it for your wheelhouse.
Come on, guys. Have you even analyzed the head on this thing? Or the aromas, the coloration.
Sure. It's
well, it's got about a 3-finger head. It's white with vanilla style flavoring and aromas.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Striking like beer that I normally drink.
Right.
So Schnickelfritz. I've had too much already. Is kind of a funny word, which probably drew you to it. Yeah. You kind of want to cuddle up when I cuddle up to you when I order one of these, right? A little bit.
I'm sitting far away from you, but yeah, you kind of look at it and say that's kind of fun. That's a fun beer. It has to be a fun beer. We looked at their website and they have an unbelievable beer garden. So yeah. Clearly these folks know what the heck they're doing.
Yeah.
The can's pretty cool looking too, right? Bright yellow. It's got like a company crest on it.
Yeah.
It's got some good font for the handwriting.
Yeah. I did like so I'm like, what's this mean? I just found Schnickelfritz. So what a Schnickelfritz is a term used to describe a child, especially a mischievous one, almost like said as a term of exasperation. Ooh. Like, oh, you little Schnickelfritz.
Maybe you turn into a Schnickelfritz after a lot of these.
It also has a second meaning I found online, which is a term used to describe a random strain of marijuana with a low potency.
Oh, wow.
So what did you set us up for here?
Not my game. As I said, I was originally going to come with Miller Lite. So if that was any indication of where my beer knowledge is, I literally picked this because I laughed at the name and I thought that, Michael, you said it. The can is pretty cool looking. Yellow, red, blue. I had no idea about the whole other angle, Ken, that you mentioned. So
why'd you bring in 3 bags of chips?
That wasn't.
I think this is a first though, Michael. We like firsts on this show. First time we do this, first time we drank that, first time we've had a guest come in who brings a beer to drink along with a sidecar beer.
Right.
To drink along with the beer.
That's a first.
Here's a beer to have alongside your beer.
Yeah. Great guest. Who's complaining?
I had to wow you at the front end because I'm just hopeful that continues.
I didn't mention that I know this guy.
You knew what was coming.
Yeah, we shouldn't talk any more about the double beer.
But double fisting there, huh? Yeah. So on beeradvocate.com, we always kind of look and see what people are saying about the different beers. And general kind of stuff about Weiss beers that we've seen, but I thought one was funny. It's actually, this is in the main sentence describing the beer. Mm-hmm. It says the unmistakable characteristics of this Bavarian Weissbier are achieved with a yeast that is decidedly fruity and phenolic. You may note clove, nutmeg, or vanilla or banana-like aromas and flavors. Phenolic.
Yeah, that
what
throws
does that word mean, right? So I had to look that up. I'm getting down a rabbit hole. Phenolic flavors and aromas are often described as clove-like, medicinal, smoky, or Band-Aid, and are considered off flavors in most beer styles. So it's like
Band-Aid, though. I mean, it's like horseplay. Like, what is Band-Aid? Yes.
Tastes
medicinal. I get okay,
like a dirty Band-Aid.
I mean, who's experienced it?
I mean, I guess with a name like Schnickelfritz, I wouldn't expect anything less than what we just got.
I mean, do you smell that at all? Like a medicinal type?
I don't.
No, I don't. Yeah.
I gotta tell you,
like
I get more fruity, I guess.
Oh.
I get like citrusy for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You too?
I was thinking, I was thinking it was going to be heavy and it was going to have like a heavy aftertaste. It has a touch of an aftertaste, but to me, it's a very light and fruit-like aftertaste as opposed to medicinal or banana-like.
Yeah, agree.
So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I don't get the banana at all. The medicinal, like
Yeah.
you said, the Robitussin, I don't get it. But
Most
like
They don't get the Band-Aid either.
no, yeah, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, most of these like Weiss beers or wheat beers are kind of summery, summer ale. Like isn't
It's got
who
good
has
hops.
summer ale? Sam Adams, I think.
Yeah, Sam Anderson,
has a
yeah.
summer ale, which is effectively same type of beer.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Schnickelfritz. I would drink it again.
So can we refer to beers in the future, not from now on, when whether like they're bad, we can say these are Schnickelfritz.
That's a bunch of Schnickel.
This beer's a bunch of Schnickelfritz.
Schnickelfritz.
You coined your own phrase too.
At the 1,000.
Yeah.
1,000.
Rob's killing it. All right, so what upcoming then? We're gonna sit down and ask Rob a whole bunch of questions, and he's gonna give us a whole bunch of answers. And
Yeah,
go from
before we do, just a little bit of news.
oh yeah, let's talk
So,
about some news.
Michael, you have a update news?
I do. So 24.1 for Business Central is out, and we've seen companies being updated with it. There's 15 platform hot fixes, 59 application hot fixes, and many localization hot fixes. For North America, where we're at, there's only 2 localization hot fixes. So be on the lookout for that. 24.2, the information has been released, but I have not seen anybody yet been updated with 24.2. So could happen at any time.
Yeah, and we've seen some kind of still some delays and some environment updates going on. So it's definitely been, let's call it choppy
Yeah.
over the last month or so in terms of the update schedule and when
Right.
updates are getting applied. So occasionally we're seeing certain environments might be updated to 24.0 and then the next day 24.1 and so
Yeah.
on. So still definitely a little choppy. And some of those AI features, the co-pilot features
Right.
are
They're not-
available now. There's still a couple that are not yet
Right.
deployed.
Yeah. And then one other thing I want to touch on really quick. I've been noticing a discussion on social platforms about, everybody thought that Microsoft, the Business Central, you're going to be able to add any field you wanted to from whatever table, right? Just click personalization, a whole list of fields is going to come up and you can add it wherever you want.
Yeah.
So I guess that's not really the case yet. I guess you have to have a developer help you out, most likely. But from what I'm gathering, and I don't know if this is true, any of those fields that you actually add are only read only, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me yet. Kind of sounds like maybe Microsoft rolled out a feature a little bit early just to get it out there, but we'll have to test it and get back to everybody.
Yeah, the devil's always in the details, right? Got to read the fine print.
Yep.
Yeah, and I just just want to kind of preview next month. Actually, we're gonna have another guest on the show next month, Kenny Pontoppidan from Microsoft, and his name may sound familiar to you. It's because last month when I attended the Dynamics Con Live conference, I led a session on data analytics and reporting for Business Central, and Kenny helped me with the outline of that session and making sure I was including some links and key tips and things directly from Microsoft. So again, thank you for the help there. He's going to be joining us next month to talk about Microsoft's what they have recently put into Business Central in terms of reporting and business intelligence, and also we're going to try to pick his brain on maybe what's coming and what their plan and strategy is going forward. So we're looking forward to another guest next month. So be sure to tune in. And for now, we'll let's get into some banking.
All right, we're here with Rob Hallberg, and we got some questions for him. Did I say your last name right? Hallberg? Hallberg? I was close.
Michael.
I was close. Apologize. All right. Well, since you're a brand new guest and I've recently just met you, Ken's known you for a while, can you just tell us a little bit about like your background and maybe give us an introduction, who you are and things like that?
Perfect. Thank you. Yes. So I've been in commercial lending, commercial banking for 28 years. And my entire career, I've focused on what I call small and mid-market businesses. Generally speaking, that means businesses 20 million in revenue and higher. I certainly have customers that are below that, but generally it's 20 million and higher. And think of manufacturing, distribution, service companies, nonprofits, believe it or not. Very fortunate at BMO. We have a lot of industry verticals. And so, transportation and finance, construction and construction and engineering, food and bev, metals. So I'm very fortunate that I have areas of the bank with excellent professionals and really know those industry verticals. But my team and my history is I've had the wonderful benefit of working with entrepreneurs, family-owned businesses, privately owned businesses. These are the people that they're in the business, literally in the business. They eat, sleep, and drink that business. I fancy myself as more of a customer advocate because our customers are really passionate about their business, and as a result, if I'm going to win their business, I better be passionate about it as well. So that's that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what made you focus on like the SMB industry? Is this just something you kind of fell into?
Yeah.
Or you figured this is my niche, this is what I like, this is where I want to focus on?
Yeah, I love the customer interaction, and when I'm dealing with our clients, it's usually the owners and the C-suite, right? And we have direct contact with them. When you go into the uber large market, over $500 million, you're getting the RFP, standard RFP. There's a book that comes out, and you rarely have that interaction, that close interaction with the management. I just love getting into a company, working alongside the men and women that make it go, and maybe having a small, reason why they do what they do and they have the success that they have.
Here.
Yes,
right?
here.
That's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what we love doing here too.
Yeah.
It's that hands-on, knowing that you're having an impact and helping a company grow and thrive.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah. So when it comes to how do we, that's great. You're out there, you're working with businesses, helping them with their, financing and other things. And we're here, we're doing technology and ERP implementation. So you're like, well, how does that tie together? Right. That's what I want to know is like where do these things intersect? So like from your perspective, maybe you're working with a prospect, when or if does what technology they're using come into play for you, like as you're making decisions about working with them?
it's a great question because people wouldn't normally connect the two, but generally, when we go out and we are searching for clients, and let's say we're working with a prospect and they're going to share some information with us. They're going to share financial information. They're going to share collateral information. And we got to look at, that's our blueprint, right? That's what we use to evaluate cash flow and collateral. And the quality of those reports tell a lot about the company, right? And it really dictates, this might be a deeper dive than we thought, or this might be, look, the information is going to be really crisp and clear and reliable, and we can dive right in and then get into the business pieces of it. So, look, the market that I focus on, that you guys focus on, what I love about it is nothing's necessarily perfect. So when we don't see exactly what we want, it doesn't mean that's a bad business. It just means we got to roll up the sleeves a little bit and get in there and understand what types of reports they can send us so that we can properly evaluate their cash flow and their collateral and really understand their business. So it's the quality and really the quickness that they can provide us that information. And when you can't get those two things, look, my job is not that hard, but when you can't get reliable information, it almost becomes impossible to do what we do, because we want to support our customers, but if we don't have the information to do so, we're dead in the water.
Right.
And so, and some of the biggest stress point for a company is, and we've seen it throughout my 20 years, I've seen it throughout my 28 years, when they don't have the right systems, they don't have the right data, they can't operate efficiently. And that means they oftentimes don't operate profitably, or they struggle when they probably should. It's hard enough to run a business, get your data in order. That makes it a heck of a lot easier.
So let's say hypothetically that there's a company out there, it's called the Cronus Brewing Company. And they brew beer and they're looking to expand. They need some extra capital maybe to put in a new building or some new technology. What, like you mentioned, like the timeliness and accuracy of like the reports. So just kind of like summarize, like what data, like what are the types of things that you're looking for, like that's like, okay, well, we'd like to get quick, reliable info.
So the number one thing is, monthly financial statements, balance sheet, income statement, cash flow statement. We need those at a minimum quarterly, but depending on the business, we might get them monthly. Then the collateral reports, your accounts receivable agings, your inventory agings, your payable agings. Those are all pretty basic reporting items that dictate what maybe how much a company can borrow. And it allows us to keep our pulse on the financial health of the business. And believe it or not, like if those reports, they come in all different shapes and sizes, and we can work with a lot of those, but if the integrity is not there and if they're not clear and concise, that spells trouble.
Yeah. Hey, Business Central has all those reports right out of the box.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How about that?
So before a client comes to you, then off the top of your head, is there anything they should do or is there anything they should have ready before they come speak to you to gain this sort of funding? Or do you just recommend anybody just come talk to me and we'll figure it out?
No, look, I mean, there's a lot of competition in the banking environment. I would never be afraid to talk to a client, to a prospect. And I'm always very upfront and honest. My goal, thanks to my good friend Dan Appin, Lab 180, I've worked with him on the sales, how to be a better prospector, how to be a better sales person, how to be a better relationship manager. It's all about asking good questions and seeking to find out if and how we can help. There might be opportunities where we're not the right solution. And as tough as that may be, like, I got to be able to tell somebody, like, I just don't think we can help you on this angle. I would love to, but it's not mutually beneficial. And so, that's going to be a pass. But generally speaking, like what I love about my career path is the chase. I get to chase these really cool companies that make stuff, move stuff, store stuff, whatever. And it's just cool to see how they operate. So I'll never turn down a prospect call, but can't say we're going to help them all.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Makes 100%.
Yeah. And it seems like getting, having that information that I guess timely that's kind of a key little thing there that many people don't realize. It's like, okay, we got to get all this information there. But I mean, I guess if I go, all right, I can get you this information, Rob, give me 2 weeks. Or I said, all right, I'll have this to you tomorrow. I guess that actually has a huge impact, right? Because that I've already got this, it's well organized, where all this stuff's it's already tied out and reconciled. And so maybe having a fully integrated system in place that can do that probably adds some points, right?
Huge. Yeah, I mean, but it 100% does, Ken, and that's a huge positive. I have to, though, set the expectation with my client, like, here's when stuff is due. It's always great to have it early, but here's when stuff's due. We're very, transparent. So quickness is one thing, but a lot of times what happens is they may be quick and on time with stuff, but they're pulling information from multiple different areas. Maybe they've got an access database and they merge that into their financial reporting system. The point being is there's this manipulation that happens, and we're all fallible, human error, or just something goes wrong. And so it may be timely, but it's wrong, or it may not be timely and it's wrong. And because it's being drawn from multiple different places and there isn't, like you said, one just seamless system that can produce timely information when you're supposed to get it.
Is there, Michael, is there
Business
not?
Central, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean.
One ran right.
I mean, I'm picturing right now, yeah, you have to be well implemented, but in theory, you could run, there's an inventory valuation report, there's a work in process report, there's an AP aging, AR aging, financial reports. Assuming your house is in order.
Yeah.
Right? Those things are like easily accessible. And it's a report that comes out of the system, which again, I'm guessing if it's a report that's system generated versus something that's like in an Excel file, maybe you have a little bit more confidence in it's like a system generated, outputted like report.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cause for panic when you can tell what you're getting. Somebody has had to manipulate or pull from multiple places and then they tell you they have, and they always do the qualifier. And we understand, look, we don't criticize. It's just, okay, so we gotta go into it with a different lens and say, probably gonna need to ask more questions or dig into this. But when it's coming out of the system, and even it's for the client's benefit, right? I mean, not mine, it's for their benefit to say, I don't have to do any manipulation to this. It's here.
Right.
And we've been trained on it. You said in your book, Ken, the executive guide to implementing accounting software, I wrote the note. It's the training. It's making sure everybody knows what the system can and can't do, and then how to utilize it properly. Michael, you said Business Central, if used correctly or done correctly, yes, like it has to be. But that's what the benefit of a new ERP. You're going to spend a certain amount of money doing it. You might as well make sure everybody on the team knows exactly what it can't do and how to use it. Because then they can be freed up to do the real cool stuff, which is grow the business, be strategic, chase after that new prospect, take some time off, right? And drink some Schnickelfritz.
Some Schnickelfritz.
So now that you know that Business Central has all this reporting capabilities and the functionality, all that, are you willing to go on record and say anybody willing to seek financing for Business Central, 100% guaranteed, no doubt about it?
My boss listening. It's getting a little fuzzy here.
You're breaking up a little. What do you mean? You're sitting
Stop.
3 feet. You're sitting 3 feet away.
No, but in all honesty, does it make a difference what type of ERP the prospect is looking to invest in from your standpoint, whether it's Microsoft backed or NetSuite or whoever it may be?
What we'll always say, it's not for us. You, the client or prospect, go through the steps, go through the guide to implementing accounting software, go through the steps and pick the system that works best for your business. Don't be sold something that may do this, like test it, scrutinize it. I'm not an expert in the technology. So to answer your question, it doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is the client comfortable with what they're getting? Have they been sold something, or have they really been counseled on a really important piece of technology that's going to advance their business?
Yeah. And I'm sure that happens a lot, right?
Yeah.
People are being sold on something that's just not. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
now when you recognize that though, do you kind of maybe drop a note to the client like, maybe you want to check out this brand too?
Yeah. Look, because I've known Ken as long as I have and I trust him, I would always position Solution Systems and Business Central because I know what he's educated me on what it does for a business and why it's, I think I've asked him a couple of times, like, why should I be concerned about the ERP system? Well, Rob, you should, because this. And I was thinking, I didn't think about that. And I know the way you guys go about your business, because we've sent clients your way, you've said no to some, right? You said, like, we're not the right solution, but you're not selling something, you're consulting and bringing a product that actually works for the client.
Right.
And that's the most important, like, that's what it's got to do. And the client has to recognize this is either right for my business or it's not.
Right.
Yeah, right. Everyone is like a where to play
Yeah.
thing, right? Like
Yeah.
whether you're a company or a product, right? There's a certain, you mentioned, like, we're not the right bank for you.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to know, like, where do you play? Where do you do well? Where you have a differentiation for yourself, and be okay with walking away, right? Like, everything is not a nail. We're a hammer. Everything is not a nail, right? But not everyone follows that playbook, right?
No.
Some people, like, they'll try to jam it in there and fit it in and make it work because it's a, like a fish on the line.
Yeah.
Like,
Or my brother-in-law said it's good. Yeah, something.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. In some of my experiences, right, where the ERP conversion hasn't gone well, it's exactly that. They didn't have the right system, or maybe they had pieces of the right system. But it stops the business. It really does. It impacts the business in a greater way than I ever gave it credit to, because just everybody's time is spent on fixing the ERP and getting it to work versus running the business. And it's very difficult to run a business without an ERP conversion in the background. Put an ERP conversion into the background. People are moving seats. The CFO, the ops, they're focused on the ERP, and they're letting other things sort of fall by the wayside, and it does impact performance.
And this is, you're saying, like, if they've now gone live, or they deployed a new ERP and it didn't go great, that's very disruptive.
Even
during,
even before, during, after, there's always there's always a risk for something to go wrong. And so it's really important when we have a client coming to us with hey, we're going through an ERP. We're not there to tell them, oh, you should do this, you should do it. We ask questions, we try and understand and get a feel for their level of preparedness, and then how we can help, right? Mm-hmm. How can we help in this? Is it financing? Is it just, sometimes we've got nothing fits in the box. I hate that term. What I like to do is make sure we understand from the company, there's going to be some stress points. There's going to be some hiccups along the way. You're going to have people, distracted. So we got to think about those and ask those questions, make sure they've thought about them, and make sure they have the plans in place, both the backup plans and the backup plans. Because what we can't have is a system that doesn't work and the inability to produce financials.
I love that you are like so focused on like that potential disruption, because when we're going through an implementation project and we're getting close to that go live date, oftentimes it's right, the company that's pushing to go live. They want to get this done. They want to go live. And we're the ones going, wait, no, we need a formal test, like a 2-day test, 3-day test, whatever it is. And we have had to go and say, you are not ready. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Yeah. We want to go live. And we're like, no, you don't. It will be, we've seen cases where they're not ready and the disruption it causes. And frankly, we've been doing this for years and years. We don't really want to be under that stress as well, right? As the consulting partner who's helping the company go through this, we want a smooth go live. So a lot of times we have to be like the bearer of bad news and say, yeah, we're not going live next month. You are not ready. You don't know this. You haven't proved that you know this. So we take that very seriously, because that it could be devastatingly disruptive to a company if they have not gone through that and understand how it works themselves. So that's great.
One of the things you pointed out again in your book, right? And there was 2 things actually that really stuck out, was making sure that you had primary stakeholders that were really running the project and knowing exactly what you just said, when the company's ready and when they're not.
Yeah.
Because you didn't ever want to get in a situation where you're the ones telling them, you guys aren't ready yet, and here's why. Because that's where the problems go. And there's such a tendency to, we got to get past this, the bank wants us to get past this, everybody wants to get past it, but we want to get past it right. We want to get past it correctly. And even if it's done perfectly, we know that there's still going to be, data integrity issues that we're going to have to deal with. And that's the communication and the relationship aspect. That's where we kind of lean in and say, we got you. Just focus your attention on task at hand. We got the banking piece. Just you do what you need to do so your business can convert and run.
Yeah. And I think everyone, people don't appreciate it can be very stressful, right? You said you got all these stakeholders, all these expectations that this is going to get done on time and on budget and everything. It really does take a set of Schnickelfritz to walk in the room and say, you're not going live, and here's why.
Well, yeah, and then even like when we are talking to our clients, like about, are you running a backup, or are you doing a physical count of inventory before you do the conversion? And sometimes we get like these puzzled looks, like, did you read that out of a book or something? No, we just, like, our years of experience, we draw on those years of experience and say, this company had this issue because they didn't take a physical,
right?
And they ran, and a year later they were like, doggone it, we should have done a physical. There's just these little things. Not that we're the smartest guys in the room or gals in the room. It's just we've seen enough where we try as best we can to prep our clients, and we try and push them to go with the consultant that you can deal with. The ones that, because it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have disagreements. Go with ones where the personalities kind of mesh. Because if they don't mesh, that's another like warning sign.
Right.
If you got somebody that, at the company side that's really pushing, and they'll take no, they're not going to take no for an answer, that's probably not the best course in an ERP implementation.
Yeah. Is it fair to say that most prospects, customers, generally underestimate the amount of costs for the disruption that is most likely going to happen?
Spot on, Michael. And it's by no fault of their own. It's just, there's a level of optimism. There's a level of, I can do this, and companies are very resilient. But they don't do this. They don't do this on a daily basis. And so, there's things that come up, whether it's licensing, whether it's extra consulting fees. That's a big, our credit folks always point that out, and correctly so, right? I'm not blaming them, but they always point it out, saying it's not going to cost that. It's going to cost this. We're like, how do you know? Well,
I do the same thing in my day-to-day life too. I'm like, oh, I know it. And then you go to hardware, so you buy twice as much. I know.
So it's a big, the budgeting, we always talk with clients, whether it's, ERP or anything, like, get real on the budget.
Yeah.
Because again, like, I just need to know, because that impacts, right? Obviously, there's going to be expenses that flow through the financial statement that are ERP related. Now, if I can identify those and maybe not ignore them, but like they're non-recurring, I can make an argument that here's performance and here's adjusted performance without these non-recurring specific ERP related costs.
Right.
That's why we ask, what's it going to cost? Have you thought about that? That's why we really push them to get a good number, so we can help them when it comes down to measuring against their covenants or measuring their performance. So we're not looking at something, it's like, geez, it's way different than last year. Yeah, because there's $100,000 of consulting fees or $1 million of consulting fees. Like, knowing that helps.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So turning a slightly different direction here, one of the things we used to see years ago, right, was if a company was taking on a new ERP implementation, that meant that there was going to be a significant cash outflow in year one for hardware, like servers, computers, printers, devices, whatever. Also licenses, which could be a lot upfront licenses, plus all the services that go into the implementation. So you had all these costs, and most of that would be in year one, really. A lot has changed over the last several years, right? You've got hosted architecture, like hosting centers that are now charging you just a monthly fee, and licenses are subscription for the most part. You can still get perpetual, but most licenses are subscription, so it's like a monthly expense type thing. Are you seeing in banking, are companies financing ERP implementation projects or technology?
That not directly. They are not coming to the bank saying, I need $3 million for this ERP. And part of that is, just to back up a second, I'll nerd out a little bit. Like the ERP is unlike equipment or real estate, which can be sold and it holds its value. Like ERP, it goes with the company. So it's not something we can take out and sell to somebody. So from a collateral perspective, it doesn't offer much, which most clients think, well, Rob, you're not going to finance this because it's technology, it's soft, it's a soft asset.
It's not a building or real estate.
Exactly. And so that's somewhat true, right? I mean, we will look at financing if we can understand all the different components you laid out, like true hardware. Our equipment finance group, we have a couple of tech specialists that's all they do is focus on the servers and the technology piece to it. So we can do those things, but what I've been most impressed about, this is why I love the market that I'm in, is these companies, these men and women that run it, they plan for this and they budget for it and they save for it. And that's the right way, because they know, like, I need some dry powder in case, right? In case it goes over, the cost goes over, and just in case. And that's why I love working in this market, is because you get all kinds, but it's cool when they recognize, I might need some financing, but you're not going to be my primary. I'm not going to go to you first. I'm gonna try and do it on my own, and then we'll figure out what I need. That makes sense?
I'd say so. All right, so let's go in another different direction, right? So as our resident lover of AI, I want to know maybe how AI is being used in commercial banking, and do you see it playing some sort of role when you like assess a loan for an ERP software or whatnot?
Yeah, so I wouldn't consider myself a lover of AI like you, Michael, but I guess I'm a acceptor of AI. So look, AI can be used to evaluate financial statements, on the risk rating, the back end process, risk rating, predictive analysis. Yeah, that's where it's used. But like, again, as a relationship manager, a lender, like there's a personal relationship that I have with our clients, AI is not going to be able to have that same impact, right? There's discussions we have, there's relationships that are built. The numbers piece, yes, AI can spit out ratios, it can spit out predictive analysis, it can do research and industry analysis and research, but somebody's got to cobble that all together, and still make a loan decision, right? Make a relationship decision, talk with a credit officer, talk through the ins and outs, because the businesses just don't run, right, in a straight line. They zigzag. And so AI is used in a lot of the back end process. We've seen it somewhat on the underwriting for small business, like it's more finite credit scoring, and it's used there. But I like to say they can't replace me.
Right. No, I can't. So do you think it'll be a helpful tool though?
Yeah, we're using it today, like to do a lot of industry analysis and our portfolio managers to find out about certain terminology and what would this look like, and so we're using it in that regard. And yeah, I mean, crunching numbers, and certainly from with banks, the biggest thing is risk rating. Risk rating all your loans and making sure that we're doing that properly. So yeah, it's a tool that makes it a lot easier to do and compile tons and tons of data. We have some really, really intelligent people at BMO that they're intelligent because they know a lot of stuff, and they also know how to work smarter, not harder, right? So.
Yep.
Well, hold on a minute. I just got an X memo, Twitter. It says that Elon Musk is working on a commercial banking robot. Sorry, Rob. It looks like the end is.
Yeah, if he jumps in, yeah.
On a serious note, though, like everything you're saying, like it's there's a lot of consultative value to like what you're bringing to the table.
Yes.
Like you're going to meet with these businesses and they're saying, hey, here's what we want to do. Here's how we want to do it.
Yeah.
And you're going, well, wait a minute. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that?
Yeah.
Is there like, does BMO or other banks have like a consulting practice, like where you go in as advisors
Yes.
in certain deals or?
So I'll just speak to BMO because that's what I know.
Yeah.
We have a business unit, corporate advisory. It's such an impressive group for us. We can go out to companies, we can help them stress test their projections and strategic plans. We can do debt capacity analysis for them. We can talk about if they wanted to do an employee stock ownership ESOP, we can talk to them about that. Dividend recaps, how to evaluate if they're acquisitive and they want to buy a company. We can start, we won't be their advisor, their investment bank on the buy side, but we can, give them just the blocking and tackling.
Yeah.
And consulting. We're
consulting.
like,
understand what's the process,
Yeah,
what's this
exactly.
look like, what things should you be prepared for or have ready?
Yeah, here's how you want your budgets and projections to look. Here's what you're gonna be asked by the iBanks. Here's what you're gonna be asked by the buyers. Prepping them. It's that doesn't cost our clients anything. You're a client of BMO and you get all these wonderful people. I just talked to my colleague today, Ashley. We have a client that did a nice, wonderful strategic plan. They want to stress it. They want another set of eyes on it. We're gonna help them, and we're gonna help them also kind of fine tune the level of line of credit that they maybe should have, or
Right.
that we think that they should have, right? And so that consulting, that's the little extra. Reviewing financial statements, identifying cash flow and collateral, that's easy. That's what Elon's bot's gonna do. But what he won't do is what our corporate advisory group and what hopefully me and my colleagues do, which is really dig in, ask great questions, try and help the company think about all the potential risks and one by one mitigate the risks.
Yeah, it just made me think, like, as we're sitting here talking, we're having this discussion, like almost like you're working here. And like,
Right.
I think people may not think of like their banking relationship in terms of like, hey, we're considering taking on this project or technology or whatever. Probably never even crossed their mind. Hey, call your banker, like talk to them and say, hey, could you offer me any guidance or advice on what we should be doing or thinking or looking at or not doing here?
Shame on me if I'm not talking to my customers about that and making sure they know. Pick up the phone. So my cell phone is on my card. Like, pick up the phone. But you're right, Ken. That's what we try and differentiate. That's why I love the career path I chose. Is it's not always easy to differentiate. I mean, look, let's be honest. Nobody's lining outside the door to bank at BMO. They're coming because we have great bankers and great portfolio managers and wonderful leadership that when we get a client, they're going to be well taken care of. And shame on us if we're not, conveying that level of knowledge and trust that they will pick up the phone and call us.
Right.
We're not always going to say yes. I mean, we're also not always going to say no.
Right.
We're gonna hopefully give them really solid advice that helps shape their business, or at least helps shape some of their decisions.
So somebody who needs this advice, how do they get in touch with you?
It's rob.hallberg@bmo.com. That's the best
The
way.
way?
Yeah.
All right, we'll link to it in the show notes for sure.
Well, Rob, we really appreciate you coming out and kind of putting a whole new light on things that we generally don't talk about here.
Wow.
We're up to, in bits and bytes and debits and credits usually.
Good to get a different
So
perspective.
this was fun.
I enjoyed it. I am absolutely honored, and I hope that anything I spewed out here was interesting to the listeners. And I really appreciate you guys bringing me on. It's great.
Yeah, we got.
All I heard was Business Central's the best ERP out there.
That's what I got.
That's what I got.
That's what I got out of this conversation too. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird.
He conveyed his message really good.
So what you're saying, Rob, is that Business Central is the best.
It's the way to go. It's the way to go. And
I couldn't have said it better myself.
I mean, it's pretty plain and simple. And it should also provide the executive guide to implementing accounting software. I have a copy that is signed.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
Ken.
love that.
It's got some
Look
notes, so you know I read it.
I do, yeah.
Find it on Amazon.
Yeah.
I told Michael, I'm like,
I've got a signed copy.
Rob does his homework, so he's going to be ready to roll here, buddy. Don't you worry. But we got one more task to take care of here before we wrap this up, and that is we got to rate the beer.
Oh,
So we
you
use
tell 'em,
a 0 to 100 rating system. Think about what your favorite beers are, where this might fall on that scale. General guideline I use is that 50 below 50, I don't want to have another one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, garbage.
garbage, yeah. But 50 to 100, somewhere in that range, right? So I'll let you guys kind of think about it a little bit here, but I'm going to go 81.
Oh, you went a lot higher than I thought you were going to go.
I cheat. So I have my historical rating sheet up here. So I kind of look at it and it's sorted. And right at that same level was, if you recall, we had a beer called Boulevard,
Yeah.
unfiltered wheat beer,
Yeah.
a hazy American classic, 81. And I kind of,
I would have thought the fruitiness might have, because you like traditional, might have put it down just a
I'm
little
not
bit.
getting as much fruitiness. I'm
As it
getting
warms up.
more of the wheat bready kind of flavor out of it, but
do I go, Michael, or you want to go?
If you're ready, go for it.
Well, I mean, I don't thank this company, but we have a wonderful food and beverage group that would love to. Schnickelfritz, I would tell you, Bourbon Chestnut Brewing Company. I would tell you, I was drawn to it by the name, yes. I think the can is pretty damn cool. And coming from a guy that drinks Miller Lite, my friend Mike Evers laughs, but he drinks Ford Light. So really, what's the difference? Yeah, I gotta tell you, I enjoyed this beer. I am gonna go 85.9.
Oh, 0.9.
0.9.
Didn't make the rookie mistake. I like it.
I really truly enjoyed this. I think it's refreshing. And I didn't think I would enjoy it, especially when I was reading when I was trying to read the side about the aromas and
Mhm.
fruit. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'd like to be right there with you. And most throughout the entire podcast, I probably was. But as it warms up, I get a little bit more hint of that aftertaste.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go in between both of you at 83. Give me an 83. Yeah. I mean, it's a really good beer. It's a really solid beer.
And
I mean, that's
You've done better than others that have
that's a
been on the
good
show.
beer, Rob. We've got some 20s and 30s.
Oh, yeah. We've had some bad ones. Yeah. Well,
Even a
as we know.
19.
We've had some bad ones.
yeah,
So
well,
80s. Is,
Some guy brought in non-alcoholic beer one time too.
You're right.
yeah.
All right. Oh, thanks everybody. We appreciate it. And stay tuned for next month. Ken, you want to take us home?
Bye.
As we end today's podcast, we want to give a big thank you to everyone who listens, shares this podcast, and leaves us reviews. You've taken a good amount of your time out of your day, and we truly appreciate it. Thanks again. And don't be afraid to email us at marketing@solsyst.com with your tips for the podcast, or maybe you'd even like to be a guest during an episode.